Ole Miss Auburn. This was one that we kind of threw on there, and obviously there's underlying storyline here between Ole Miss and Auburn. Only thing that would make this better is I wish it was at Ole Miss, right? That would make this all the better. Send Hugh Freeze back to, back to Ole Miss, where he was walking around with a Bible in one hand, a slut in the other. Just the good old days, man, and just the good old days. And now you've got preacher Freeze baptizing people down at the river at Auburn. I don't know if you saw that. He's been doing baptisms and a lot going on at Auburn. A lot going on in Auburn, and congratulations on the baptisms because that's a great thing and all. But um, man, this guy's just there's always attention on this guy in some weird fanatical way. Like it's just like I don't know, man. He can't help himself. Part of his contract whenever he signed with Auburn, and we're gonna get to this game breakdown in just a second. But the story is more interesting to me. But because he got fired, from Ole Miss and all that stuff. But it's just always something with this guy. Whenever he signed his contract with Auburn, they made him sign something that was saying basically that he wasn't allowed to control any of his social media. He's not allowed to, basically not allowed to talk to anyone out through any electrical communications, electronic communication, social media, anything like that. So, that's kind of a red flag, right? Whenever you hire your head coach of your football team and that's going on. And look, I love Hugh Freeze as a coach. He's an offensive mastermind. I mean, if he was an offensive coordinator, he'd probably be the best one in the country, right? Um, so that has none of that stuff has anything to do with the football coach because football coaches are not typically saints. Okay, they're football coaches. This is a rough sport we're talking about here, um, but I just like to lay all that out because it's juicy, man. It really is juicy, and um, so is Ole Miss walking into a trap here? That's kind of where my head's at on this one.
Right.
Um, I can. This one's got upset potential written all over it to me. Um, I like Auburn plus the 6.5 here. I'm going to go out on a limb, and we'll see how the week progresses on, and what the numbers look like. But I might throw a little something something on Auburn. I suspect Hugh Freeze, and I said that they beat somebody they weren't supposed to this year. I think this is their chance, man. I think this is
Yeah.
it right here. What's your thoughts on this? And take us through the numbers. All that's conjecture. That's all my gut. So
Yeah.
take us through the numbers and tell us what your gut says.
Well, when I break this game down, I'm looking at what's been a pretty good a pretty good defense for Auburn, and you know, not a great offense. I think that's putting it lightly. I think that given, you mentioned Hugh Freeze being such a good offensive mind, I think that a lot of Auburn fans would have expected the Auburn offense to start picking up by now. And outside of the Georgia game, I don't know that I've seen him scheme up an outstanding game plan to face a defense. Maybe this is the week that he does it. It's certainly a good defense to go and attack, and
Mhm.
they've been pretty good on you know in their rushing defense. They're only allowing 3.17 yards per attempt. So maybe Auburn finds a way around that, and maybe you see a little bit more Peyton Thorne, rushing the football, kind of rolling out and getting some rushing yards that way. I don't think that Auburn's going to just all of a sudden be able to pass the football. For the Auburn fans out there, I'm sorry, but I haven't seen it. I thought I would see it by now. I just haven't seen it. I don't think that they have the dudes on the outside and the guy, snap it, or the guy, throwing the football either. I don't think that they have a great quarterback. And I just don't see them being able to pass the football. But maybe they get some run schemes together and they're able to make this a good ball game. This is I believe it's a 3:30 kickoff in Auburn. You know, anybody who's a fan of an SEC team and a fan of college football knows that Auburn's a tough place to play at. You know that, and weird things happen on the plains. You know,
Yep.
we know that. So I agree that this could be a game that Auburn wins. This could be sort of that marquee win for Hugh Freeze in his first season. He's still searching for that. I think that he is probably going to get somebody. I just have a tough time. You know, my heart tells me that yeah, they can end up winning this game because I know college football and it doesn't always work out the way that things, you know, are that you plan on things to end up. Um, but my head tells me that there's no way that they're winning this game. But they could definitely keep it close at home. But yeah, I still like Ole Miss's passing attack. Their offense has been pretty good. Um, they it seems like sometimes their running game's going, sometimes it's not. I do think that, you know, for as good as Auburn's defense has been, it's mostly been in the secondary that I've seen, you know, some really solid play. So maybe Ole Miss is able to run the football a little bit more. If that's the case, if they're able to lay the ground game down a little bit, I think that the under could hit at 56.5. But it's kind of a stay away game for me as far as the spread goes. Again, I do like Auburn in this game in some ways, and my heart tells me that Auburn's going to keep it close, but my head tells me that to just stay away from this game and you know, at least the spread, and maybe play the under at 56.5. That'd probably be my best bet there. But I think Ole Miss will end up winning this game, and that's probably my safest pick there.
Look, I I get what all the numbers say. I get all that, but this is a bad spot for Ole Miss, in my opinion. I think this is a bad spot. It's starting to get cold outside. The lane train's about to come off the track. It's about that time of year. They do this every year, um, and I think it's time. And I think that it's like a 3 turnover day for Ole Miss, and we've seen Auburn take advantage of turnovers. If you turn the ball over for them, even a crippled offense like Auburn can figure out a way to exploit you, and especially with a makeshift defense like Ole Miss has, one that I don't believe in, one that I think is extremely confusing. Um, Pete Golding, I don't like him as a defense coordinator. I think this is a bad spot. Uh, I think I think Hugh Freeze is about to take him to school, and I think that Auburn defense is going to play well. But that's college football. You just never know.